Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today's another AMA episode, that is, Ask Me Anything. This past weekend, I was in Denver speaking at an investment conference, and I received the same question repeatedly from several attendees at the conference. Since this question came up so frequently, I thought I would share the answer with our listeners. But first, if you have a question you think is going to be of broad interest, send it in. I'll answer it live on the air. Send your questions to victor@victorjm.com. That's victor@victorjm.com. Today's question is, many investors who invest in multifamily apartments are looking for cash flow. How can you deliver cash flow to investors on a new construction project when the property isn't generating income yet? Several of you indicated you didn't want to undertake new construction because your investors would want to see a rate of return from the point of investment and would not be willing to wait 2 years to see income coming back from the investment. Well, thanks to the several people who asked me this question in the past week, it's a great question. The answer I'm going to give you here is a game changer. We've been using some variation of this approach for close to 8 years now on virtually all of our projects. And when you undertake a new construction project, you put together a budget for everything to complete the project. That includes all the elements of the physical construction, often called the hard costs, and you also need to budget for all of the soft costs. The soft costs include your architectural design, your holding costs such as property taxes, insurance, loan interest, and any fees such as building permits. If you're borrowing funds from the bank, you're going to have a line item in your budget for those interest reserves. And if your investors need to see cash flow during the construction period, you can construct your budget to include a payout during the construction period. You'll include a second interest reserve line item in your budget to pay your investors. But before you run out and copy what I'm proposing here, I want you to seek professional advice from an attorney who specializes in securities law to make sure that what you're doing is fully in compliance with the law. You probably also want to get some accounting advice. Make sure that you're not creating an offer that has adverse or unexpected tax consequences. If you plan to use retirement funds, you'll also want to double check with your advisor who specializes in self-directed retirement accounts to make sure there are no issues with using retirement funds for such an investment. Of course, you want to make sure there's sufficient value being created in your project that you can afford to pay a rate of return to your investors during construction. Oftentimes, this can be a fixed rate of return similar to an interest rate. Structurally, this can be done several ways. I'm only going to outline one way, but understand that there's more than one way to do this. Again, seek advice from a qualified securities attorney. One such structure, which we've used repeatedly, is something called a convertible note. It's kind of like two different types of instruments in one. At the beginning, it starts out looking like a loan or a promissory note. It'll have a fixed rate of interest. By making it convertible, you convert the instrument from a loan to equity. Now, the only question is, what is the conversion criteria? You could, for example, convert from a debt instrument to an equity instrument upon completion of construction, or perhaps on achieving a specific leasing occupancy number. This can have several benefits to the investor. The investment looks like a loan at the beginning. You could even secure the loan on title with a mortgage that is behind the construction lender in priority, and that gives the investors a little bit more security than merely being an equity investor during the highest risk portion of the project. At first, the security is treated like a loan. It pays an interest rate. Then, upon hitting the conversion trigger, it becomes an equity investment in the entity that holds the property. So you start your construction, you pay interest to the convertible note holders out of the interest reserves you put in the construction budget. You finish the construction, you hit your leasing target, and the note converts from debt to equity. With this simple approach, you can create an investment instrument for your cash flow investors that would meet the requirement to pay out a rate of return during the construction phase. Thank you again to the several conference attendees who asked this question during the last conference. As you're thinking about this, take out a spreadsheet and have a look at the financial analysis for one of your existing projects. Maybe it makes the project more attractive for your investors, and maybe you can offer a lower rate of return in order to achieve your investors' objectives. Think about how it might affect your future plans. Have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.